Ready and action.
She's unlike any other superhero.
It's gonna be loud
Extreme.
and beautiful.
The story is different because it's a superhero thriller with a lot of action.
Getting to be in a spider suit is probably the coolest experience of my life.
Everyone wants to be a superhero.
We had a specific vision for what the movie would look like, and I couldn't be more thrilled or proud of how the team pulled together to bring this to life.
The decision to film in Boston was made primarily because it's very hard to occupy a lot of street geography in New York. So we basically decided that a film of this size and scope needed to be shot someplace else.
Our biggest issue here was trying to find things that didn't look like they had been built after 2003 and things that didn't look specific to Boston.
I need more information.
You have to go to Peru.
So the very beginning of the comic origin story says somewhere in Peru. So we're going to go to Chiapas, which is the southernmost state in Mexico, and we're going to have it stand in for Peruvian jungle.
With locations, it's also very collaborative. We all go to the locations and specifically discuss, does this work for the character? Does this work for the situation? To make it apply to the aesthetics of the film.
You have come back looking for answers.
The other main sets are the interior of a very large cave.
That cave was inspired by some of the extreme caves of Vietnam, whose entrances almost looked like jagged teeth. At one point, we looked at caves that had arachnid openings. They looked like the legs of spiders, which was really interesting. We wanted it to look like it was torn apart. All of the lines of the rocks are moving in the same direction. It ended up being a really interesting process of going to miniature, scanning it, carving hundreds and hundreds of pounds of foam to imitate that miniature. It's something I think we were really proud of when we were finished.
To see the future clearly, you have to heal the wounds of your past.
Slippery, wet, and a lot of fun. Action.
The diner was an enormous challenge.
They basically built a whole diner.
It's a parking lot that we built a set on.
For all intents and purposes, it's a functional diner.
I mean, it wasn't on Google Maps, so all the locals were confused.
People would stop by every day towards the end of the build saying, when are you guys open for business?
Background and action.
Probably one of the most challenging sequences and also the most fun was the train.
It's really just a big set piece.
When we got to the trains, there's always a discussion about what's the best way to do trains. It's difficult to work on existing train lines. It's not always safe. So we basically got 2 out-of-service commuter cars rented to us, and we put them on a stage and built an existing platform so we could stage all our train sequences.
New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days.
One camera, Amber.
Action. Hey, Cassie!
Filming underwater was really fun.
Well, the underwater sequence is really the inciting incident for Cassie, where she suddenly starts getting an insight into her powers. And we have this wonderfully abstract moment where she's catapulted through the web of life, where she sees her lifeline come towards her and takes her on a journey of what's going to happen.
We did a lot of water training, so I learned to hold my breath for like 3.5 minutes.
It shows how the web connects, how everybody connects to each other, and how her one thread is connected to everything else.
Come on!
You're okay.
When Cassie has the accident where the car falls off the bridge and into the water, it sort of catapults her into her journey of discovering her clairvoyance and her superpowers.
How do you see clairvoyance? It's something that is just so mythical to us and something that we don't understand.
One of the most challenging things is the visual representation of that clairvoyance.
I decided to think about memory and how does memory work, and maybe seeing the future is like remembering something, and how memory sometimes isn't clear, it's often fragmented. There's maybe visions and sounds that don't always meet up together. So I'm trying to give this sort of almost kaleidoscopic feel to what these visions look like.
We didn't want it to be a sort of jarring, completely different look. So we did like a smaller, nuanced approach to her visions or her clairvoyance.
I can see the future.
We're using a technique where we put a diopter in front of the camera to make it feel like everything gets distorted and it's almost like a shutter of a camera, or equipment used in an optometrist office, which we actually have in the film, has been a lot of the inspiration for this.
Putting on the super suit was really cool. Having a suit made to my body was just so amazing. And the shape of it is really interesting because it fits to my body, but the legs are bell bottoms. And then her visor, which blocks her eyes because she's blind.
Well, Nyla Dixon is a genius, and she is so incredible at looking at characters and having an understanding of that and transforming that into what they wear.
It's so cool.
The suit was like, whoa, I'm just becoming a superhero.
I remember when Celeste came on set in costume, looking just so fantastic.
I was really excited about my suit because it's red and blue, which is the original Spider-Man colors.
And that was really exciting to see the colors, the character, and all those things come out in those costumes.
I mean, it's really amazing to bring these stories to life.
I'm turning into a real superhero, right?
One of the lines in the movie is,
Your mind has infinite potential.
it's so strong and so powerful. What an amazing thing to be able to explore in a film.